Alright, so hello and welcome. I'm going to try to do this within 5 minutes because HAML is actually really not that complicated. Now I've got a code pen up here and I'm going to go ahead and switch this to HAML so that you can see the difference between HAML and HTML code. Now the first thing that you need to understand is that the default usage of pretty much most of what you're going to use with HAML is div. And what I mean by this is whenever I make a class of container, which everybody knows is from Bootstrap, and I save it, and then we look at the compiled, it is a div. This is because HAML automatically assumes, unless you specify the tag, you're going to be using a div. Now, you can specify a tag by putting a percentage sign and then a p tag. And you don't want to make a space here because, as you can see, it'll show up in the HTML. You want to concatenate it with whatever class you're using. Now you can use a regular class or you can use an ID, and those are the same symbols as we see in CSS, and that is generally how you make your tags. So you can put a text area here and it'll compile to a text area, and yeah. So that is what you're mostly going to be using HAML for on CodePen. Now, how do you add things like attributes to this? Well, we use Ruby hashes. So let's use the value property, and I want it to point to a value of true. Okay. Now, this will add the attribute to the tag. So let's go over here and view the compiled. As you can see, it added the value. Now, there are hyphenated attributes, and in order to do those, you have to use a hash within a hash. However, something very important to realize is that you always want to do your single hashes first, and then your double next. Because anything that follows after a double hash is usually not registered. So we put a comma, and then the data attribute is a common one. So we'll put data, and then we'll put a pointer, and another hash, and the data target value is very common. And we'll say it's toggle, because again, that's familiar with Bootstrap. And we'll view the compiled HTML. And as you can see, it added data target toggle. Now, that's mostly what you're going to see in CodePen. There's a few other things, such as what you're not seeing, and what you're not seeing is actually this. And what this is it's your declaration of doc type. It automatically generates the newest version of the doc type. So this would generate the HTML5 doc type. See? You can see it by going directly to here, but it's not actually there. It doesn't need to declare a doc type for your file. That's whenever you try to import things and you can't find the doc type, that's why it's not there. Now, with a Rails user, it's very important to understand how the Rails embedded tags are put in. So we have this, right? This is actually represented by this. Okay? And then we have this, and that's actually just represented by that. Now, the last thing that we need to do is make a comment, because commenting in applications is very important. Add some random letters, and then highlight that and control forward. And there's your comment. You could do that, but that's not going to do anything. You need to do that. And that is for a single line comment. We can go like this, and then this, and as you can see, it's single line comments. Now, to be honest, you can actually make a multi-line comment by just making sure that it's on the same indented line. You just have to make sure that it follows the indent of the comment, and you're fine. That will make a multi-line comment. Now, as you can see, it is actually showing up in the compiled code. So the way we prevent that is, let's make a container, and then let's use a random string, comment that out, and then another random string and comment that out, and then we can just with another random string. And you don't actually need this to make a multi-line comment. But as you can see, it's already throwing an error because it's an inconsistent indentation. So let's go ahead and 1, 2, and there you go. So that is how most of HAML works. That's HAML. It's very simple to use, very easy to understand, and I just wanted to make this video so that you could understand the very basics of it. Now, HAML has a lot more to it. It has a lot more built-in functionality, especially when dealing with Rails. But this is just a brief overview so that you understand how to use it and you can start implementing it into your code. Now, as you can see, this will actually take up most of what you need to use HAML for. There's just some special cases where you might want to use this or you might want to use that. What I've showed you is 90% of what you're going to use HAML for most of the time. Alright, and with that, I'll see you in the next video.